Hi friends, this is Sarah from Crafting and Relaxing. Today is one of those videos with something I've never done before. This weekend, when I was supposed to be cleaning my craft room, I decided that I should try tea dyeing paper. I saw Gretchen from Catnpaws do this a while ago. She did a wonderful tutorial. I had not watched the tutorial recently, and it went okay. This video, if you just want to see how it turned out, skip to the end. If you want to suffer along with me and see how it goes, then just keep watching. I heated up the kettle and I put the tea bags right in it. I'm using really good tea because that's what I have and like to drink. But I think you can use whatever you have. I'll put those right there. And I'm going to put super hot tea in there. Pour it all over. My house smelled like organic African nectar tea. It was absolutely wonderful. I don't know what my husband thought, but I liked it. And I put it down in the sink because I'm really, really clumsy and it's probably a safety hazard for me any other way. I put it down in the sink and then I know somewhere, maybe in the dishwasher, here we go. I have the plastic coated kind of tongs, which I think you're less likely to tear the paper if you use that, because if I stick my fingers in there right now, it's hot, right? It is floating a little, so I can move it back and forth. And air bubbles aren't necessarily bad because they make variances in color. And I don't know how gentle you have to be with it, but I know that if it's all floating up, it's not going to get color. And my edges probably aren't getting a lot of color because my pan's not wide enough. I'm going to let this sit. I actually had my kettle pretty full, and as the paper gets more soggy and flattens out, look at that, it covers. Can you see pretty well? I mean, it's covering the edges. Oh, except for right there. So I think I'm probably okay as far as getting a good soak. I'm going to leave it for a couple minutes. And then I'm going to take it out. And I'm going to leave this running so I don't forget to show you. Okay, so that's just a little test page. And if I take it out right now, it's way too light. It does have some really dark coloring from the part that I poured. It looks like where I poured straight out of the kettle and it like singed it. And I also have a slight tear in that, so I need to be more careful with poking the tongs, even though they're coated. You can see right there. The pan doesn't move in the sink, so if I could move it around, I might jiggle the pan a bit, but that's not an option for me. So I'm gonna let it sit, and I'm gonna set a timer, and I'm gonna come right back. Okay, so I set the timer, then I came back, and then I grabbed the silicone coated spatula and tried that. And I was trying to get the paper to move around in the pan because from watching Gretchen, I knew that if I didn't get tea between the layers, I would just have white paper in the middle. And my pan was too small. I used, a 9x12 baking sheet, and it was just too small. Okay. Gonna totally experiment with this. It could go badly, but that's all right. I think that pan might shift when I pour in it. So I'm gonna put this here, and then in fact, I'm gonna flop this paper. Can you guys kind of see? Yeah, I'm gonna flop this paper completely upside down if I can. No, it's not interested in doing that. But that would be ideal. Because then I would know that that bottom layer is going to get it really well. There we go. It will not come out. It is sticking. There we go. And I think one of the tricks is to have different layers and different colors so that you didn't probably do them all exactly the same. So then, fit. No. Well, let's see. I'll try and make it so you can see. There you go. Okay. This might shift and fall, and there might be yelling. Okay, so I think that's the trick. Do not use the 9x11 baking sheet that you have in your house. Find a cookie sheet or something, because then they can float and move around, and you can do this and separate your layers better. And I think I need to put this flat on the counter, so I'm going to shuffle this again. And I think I should get points for the fact that I didn't, well, yet at least, dump my phone into the tea. I mean, there should be points for that, right? Okay, the old dog's playing with the gate behind me. Hey, do you need help? Okay, go on, go see what he's doing. There you go. Okay, so I think definitely use a bigger pan. 1 pot of tea was plenty for me. It was a big kettle. I mean, like here. My teapots themselves are a little smaller. That's why I didn't swap it and actually make it in a pot. And I'm gonna pull a little bit more of this out, just because, like I said, I want different looks. And I also want to separate some of this a little more. And I might have tattered edges, but that's okay, because the chances of me making a journal where I need the full-size piece of paper aren't very good. So see how some of these are still really white? That is part of why you really need to be able to move your paper around, because these two have pretty much sealed themselves together and not taken in much color. There we go. Okay. Super fun. I can't wait to see how it goes and turns out. It takes a while for them to dry, and what I'll do is I have another cookie sheet like this, big one here, and I'll spread them out here. I'll dump this out and leave some to dry here, and probably open up the windows and let the air blow through. And because I didn't do that many, I would expect them to be dry to play with in the morning, because I'll be able to spread them out pretty well. And I know that when Gretchen's drying hers, she comes back through and moves them around a little. So I'll definitely fluff them at least once before I go to bed. This is how my paper turned out. When I made that video, when I started the video and I was boiling the water and everything, it was a beautiful day. It was lovely out. The forecast on my phone showed no signs of rain, but it had rained several times that day, just on and off a little bit. By the time I was done, it was pouring. So I had this vision of my paper drying quickly and everything being wonderful. I ended up turning on the oven to 200. I went back and watched Gretchen's tutorial a bit while I was heating up the oven, and she did the same. I know there are differences. If you let your paper dry all the way in the oven, it's more crinkly. If you just use it to warm it up and let it go, then it's a little bit smoother. This is the journal that Gretchen made me, and her paper is smoother. It's less textury, but see how she has like cool edges? It just depends on how you do it. Like this one is super splotchy, and she's got creases. So if you want more of that, you would let your stack stay together. I wanted aged paper overall because I want to use it with the stuff that Tasha sent me to make my next journal. So maybe you've seen my videos where I have my blue journal. My next journal that's for me, I want to use the stuff that Tasha sent me, A Date with My Craft Room and my Happy Mail. I didn't want like bright white. Like even this one is a little too white for me. This one I kind of love. I hope that it shows. Let me show you. Okay, this is a piece of cardstock, so you can see the difference. And my edges are a little crinkled. Some of them are ruffled. This one kind of looks like I drove over it, stomped on it. I haven't decided if I'm going to iron my paper. I probably won't. I hate to iron. I mean, with a fiery passion. So it's really not enjoyable for me in crafts. I think that these will be pretty fun. I mean, if I'm going to iron, don't get me wrong, it will be related to crafting. It won't be clothes. But I don't think I'll iron them. I'm not sure. It kind of depends on how it goes when I start making the journal. Or maybe I'll iron some of them because I want to feel them. The thing that's really cool is this was cheap, like 20-pound printer paper. And it does not feel like that anymore. If I sent you some of this, you would not guess that it's 20-pound printer paper. You would think that it's something a little nicer. This is just the paper I had. So if you want to make books and sell them, or gifts to impress your friends, or cute little notebooks for work, people would never guess that this was just cheapo paper. The other thing is, I bet with different tea, you get slightly different colors, so you could mix them, like maybe black teas, green teas. This one is my favorite, the organic African nectar. It's a little bit like pinkish, so I don't know if my papers look different because of it. Anyway, I had a great time. I would do it again. There were a couple times in that video where I thought, okay, I'm doubting whether this is fun, like when I was trying to flop the pan and I couldn't get the paper out of it. And the moment when I was wondering if I was going to drop my phone in the tea. But, you know, be smart enough to not put your camera over a big pan of tea and you won't have to worry about that. But I think it was fun. I will do it again. But first I need to use up this paper, right? Because now I have a pile of paper. I also made a shaker card this weekend. And I just want to tell those of you who have been asking for shaker card videos, I will not be doing a shaker card tutorial. I don't love them. I'm not good at them. And we should have someone else. So if somebody else that watches my channel has a great shaker card tutorial or wants to make one, I'll watch it. And if it's, you know, good, I'll plug it for you. But I filmed it. And at one point I had like, my hands were stuck together on foam mount. And I wasn't swearing, but I definitely was thinking, this is why people don't do crafts. Like, not everything is fun. So anyway, I just wanted to share that with you, that, you know, real life. And yeah, my craft room's still not clean. Those of you who know what the board means, oh yeah, the counter, it's bad underneath. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you're having a great week. Bye-bye.